Welcome to Our Community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. Every once in a while, you hear a story about something that is so gripping and so amazing, and you find out this is happening right here in our backyard. You gotta follow up, and that is the case today. We are visiting with Dale Hartz and Frank Wilkinson, both from Better Future Facilitators. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having us in.
It's wonderful having you in, and you have an interesting story as far as how you two fellas, how your paths crossed. Let's start there. Dale, how did you meet Frank?
Well, it is a pretty cool story. And actually, I took the bus. I was wanted to visit my sister in Cincinnati last summer. And so I rode the bus down because I wanted to have that experience. And while I was down there, I ended up buying a stranger lunch. He was at a market and just hanging out there and looked like he needed some help. And so on the ride back to Cleveland, I was thinking to myself, boy, what would the world look like if more people just did random acts of compassion for forgotten people? Mm-hmm. Not doing nice things for privileged people, but doing nice things for people that are really kind of down on their luck. Mm-hmm. And so I recruited a friend of mine, Lee Pipes, because my original idea was to have this thing called Lunch with a Stranger. And I thought, boy, even really, really busy people can afford 90 minutes a month and $10 to do something nice.
Which also is a good idea. So don't forget that one.
Yeah,
Follow
exactly.
up on that as well. That's a great idea.
So I recruited my friend Lee Pipes, and I told him about the idea, and he said, yeah, that's fine. I'll help you with this, but I don't think you and I should be picking up strangers on the street in downtown Canton. I said, okay, well, that's why you surround yourself by smart people. And so Lee said, why don't we get in touch with the director at the Refuge of Hope? Mm-hmm. And so we went down to the Refuge and met with one of the directors there, Scott. And so the bottom line is we set this up that we were going to meet once a month and start to have lunch with people that were strangers for us. But we expected that eventually they would become friends of ours. And that indeed was the case.
That's what happened. Were you surprised when you found out? I'm guessing Frank was one of the folks you took to lunch.
Yeah, number two.
Were you surprised by how much you had in common or the way the conversation went? Did it go a direction you just didn't anticipate?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. And I think for many people, we have, in general, society has this view of homelessness. And we think of homeless people as, not willing to work and living under a bridge and, addicted, et cetera, but typically all negative attributes. And yes, granted, there are people that fit that description, but what I also found out is that they're what I call high potential homeless individuals, people that have an amazing work ethic. When you start to hear Frank's story, I mean, Frank really, Frank has an amazing work ethic. He wants to help other people. It's a face of homelessness that we typically don't see. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, that really that struck me. And then this whole idea of providing an entrepreneurial path as opposed to just job skills training. Yeah. Because the other thing that was really strong for me is this thought that, Frank and other women and guys like Frank, to me, they're worth more to society than $8, $9, $10 an hour. Yeah. So is there an alternative path that we can provide to teach them to be social entrepreneurs and not just go get a low-paying job?
It's a brilliant idea. Frank, let's hear your story. Let's get to know you a little bit. Well, what happened?
Well, I've been in the construction trades in Stark County for 35 years. Mm-hmm. And what led me to this path was a accident of my fiance passing away. Mm. And I woke up to that, and it changed everything. At that time I had 18 months sobriety, and things were going very well for me. Mm-hmm. And that just sent me a different direction.
Yeah, you've got the world ripped out from under your feet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, it took me back to 1985 when my mom committed suicide. So it all played a part. But anyways, I ended up at the refuge. Never been in a homeless shelter. Didn't even know one existed in Stark County. I know that the YWCA always was there, but things started changing quick. I met Dale about 30 days after I'd been there. We went to lunch, and that's when a lot of the transformation started. I had no idea that he was going to give us an offer to start our own businesses at that time.
I didn't either at that time.
No, you were going for lunch.
So things, they just developed quick. I ended up about a month at the refuge of becoming the head resident aide. And, that's when I learned that there was more to me than what I was. And I was able to give. I was able to take care of guys, get them clothes, get them something to eat when they were, those were a lot of the changes that I went through.
That is an amazing statement, that I learned there was more to me. Were you surprised by what you discovered there at the refuge, to get to know you better? And are there more of you there at the refuge? Are there more like you there at Refuge of Hope that have so much potential?
And you're right. There are others there that could have the same opportunity. These guys, I made a chore list, and I had many guys that were very helpful, could do what they were supposed to do, but their stories were similar. They just fell into something that, sent them a different direction.
Have you found, it seems like once a person has gotten into a situation where they are homeless, it becomes very difficult to dig yourself out of that. Did you find that? I'm thinking even just the emotional and the whole feeling of, well, this is it. This is my destiny.
And that's how a lot of guys feel. I didn't have time for that.
That's so good.
I submerged myself in working in the kitchen and helping others. I mean, it was a total different direction of my life. So I didn't think about the negative things about being in a homeless shelter. I was busy. I stayed busy, and it was a nonstop from 5 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, And
I think that's why 30 days into that, everything turned around. I think that you have hit on something huge. I can remember doing some furniture collecting to drop off for one of the Ys, where they've got programs where as people are moving out of temporary shelter into permanent homes, they're able to take some furniture with them to help get started. And I said to a gentleman there, he said, "What's this for?" "This is for you. When you're moving out, you'll be able to come choose this." And he said, "Oh, I'll never be moving out." And that just hit me. But you were able, and I think you've really hit on something, by not thinking about yourself, by how can I serve others, that turned you around. Do you agree, Dale, that there was something special about Frank here in his desire to serve, his desire to work?
Yeah, I think that's an important point. And I also think that for Frank, there were three main support mechanisms or organizations. I mean, Frank got involved with his home church, Frontline Ministries. Mm-hmm. You had the Refuge of Hope, and then you had the Better Future Facilitators Organization. And I think between all three of those working together, he was busy all the time, but busy in a positive sense.
Yeah.
Then got involved through our program with the middle school children at STEAM Academy.
Wow.
And so he was actually that was a beautiful program. He was we called it a reverse mentoring program. Mm-hmm. And Frank was teaching the students about homelessness, and the students were teaching him about technology. And so it was just kind of a beautiful win-win situation.
Perfect partnership. We should say, Dale, you have another full-time work. You're at Walsh University. Tell us what you do there.
Yeah, actually, I'm part-time. I'm an adjunct faculty at Walsh University. I teach in the business school, and also adjunct at Case Western Reserve University. And I do some management consulting work as well.
So very cool. So you can tell that faith then also plays a big part in your life, and Frank, faith has played a huge part in your life. Where is the faith component in all of this, in helping people get back on track?
For me, Frontline Ministries, they offered everyone at the refuge $50 to go to Kmart over in Massillon and spend it any way they like, then go back to the church, have a Christmas dinner, and hear some worship music. And so, that day, I went up front. I rededicated my life to Christ. And it hasn't been the same since.
Wow.
I mean, it's helped me to focus on starting my own business. It helped me stay focused on getting through the New Hope Business School. It helped me to start build relationships with people and not acquaintances, but actually get to know them for what they are and who they are. Everything before was just, like I told Dale, pretty much in my life, my relationships were disposable. They were just, but the relationships I have today, even through the Better Future Facilitators, then my church, which is just like, I just love it. I love it. I mean, it's not a chore to go there. It's another learning experience. So
I wish this weren't radio. I wish people could see the look on your face when you talk about this and the light in both of your eyes about this. This is just something so very cool. I'm so excited to be able to spread the word about it. So let's talk about exactly what it is. Better Future Facilitators. You are giving people an opportunity to not just get trained for work, but to be entrepreneurs and to run a business.
Correct. Yeah, we're not training people to work. We're not training people to get jobs. We are teaching people how to launch businesses and specifically become social entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs in the classic sense were only focused on one thing. They were focused on making money. And a social entrepreneur is focused on two things. They're focused on, of course, making money. Frank is in the process of launching his business, Pro Help and More. It's a property maintenance solutions company, and he'll be doing everything having to do with property maintenance and management. Actually, mainly the maintenance part. So we're teaching people how to be social entrepreneurs, and so that means making money, but also making a positive impact on society. And so as Frank builds his business and he needs additional part-time, full-time help, he'll be recruiting those individuals from the refuge and other shelters from which he came. So that's what a social entrepreneur is, making money and making a positive social impact. So we do this, just a moment ago, Frank had mentioned the New Hope Business School. So the way that our model starts, we start with a referral from a collaborative shelter partner. So the directors, some of the leadership at the Refuge of Hope sent us last year a letter of recommendation to have Frank be entered into our program. We went through, we knew Frank, so we had spent months together. Frank then went on various interviews, wrote essays, etc., very similar to an entrance process at a university. Frank then, in the middle of February, started the New Hope Business School program, which is a 6-month program. It takes about 20 hours a week to complete the program. It's a combination of classroom training and then field learning experiences. We Frank met entrepreneurs, business owners, attorneys, accountants throughout the area, as well as actually throughout the country and in Brazil as well. A friend of mine owns a family business in Brazil, so when the facilitators were outside the area, we connected via Skype. So we have professionals that are sharing their experience, their expertise with our students. And then Frank just recently graduated the program.
Congratulations.
And the process of launching his business actually has some clients already. So we've just through word of mouth and the newspaper article, we've already secured some contracts and and Frank is working now. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
So exciting. We need to take a break. We're going to find out more after these words. You're listening to Our Community.